Alright boys, today's video, how I moved to Thailand. I'm going to tell you the full story, exactly how I did it and how you may be able to do the same if you are a business owner or make money online and want a little change of scenery. So for anyone who doesn't know, I moved to Thailand in April and lived there for around 7 months. I came back mid-October and I've been back for a few months now for Christmas and seeing my friends and family, and I'm going to be heading back in around 20 days, which is exciting, and it is an amazing life out there, so I figured it might be of use to kind of talk about the story and exactly how to do so. So without further ado, we will get straight into it. Now, moving out there, here's my little story. So it was about April time last year. It was actually February when I decided I wanted to go, and basically I had started my business online. I run a fitness coaching business, and it was going very well in terms of everything was where I wanted it to be. I was making good money, I was getting good results. I had kind of everything I wanted in terms of the time freedom. I was building something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed what I was doing. The only thing that I found was that I was kind of working at my laptop by myself all the time in the same room, in the same town. And also a lot of my friends would be kind of working, in London at the time, or even they were at university. So there was a lot of times where I was just kind of on my own. And I was just like, well, this is a bit shit. I was like, I have the money to be going somewhere else. So I figured, okay, what is the best logical place to go? And it kind of dawned on me that Thailand was the spot. Now, I flirted with this idea for a long, long time. And then eventually I met a friend who said he was also going to Bali, and that we basically kind of planned together. And at that moment in time, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm never actually going to do anything unless I do something about it. So what I did was I simply booked a flight to Bangkok, a one-way for April. And then the rest was history. So got to work. I booked that in March. The flight was on April the 4th, I remember. And I worked pretty hard for that month. And I remember I was paying off quite a lot of stuff at the moment. I had a mentorship. I was investing all my money back into the business. So at the time, I think I had 200 quid in my bank when I went to the airport. But I was just like, fuck it. Like, realistically, I'm going to make it back. I'm earning a decent amount per month. But I remember when I got to Bangkok, I had 80 quid because I obviously spent like 120 on like food, all this shit, visas, SIM cards, whatever it was. But I remember I got to Bangkok, I had 80 quid for the night. I wasn't getting paid till the end of the week or whatever it was. So it was a bit of a rogue one. But I was making around 2 or 3K at the time, which was like, 3K USD or whatever it is. I flew with absolutely no research. I watched a bit of YouTube like the night before. But it was the best experience of my life, 100%. I learned so much in 6 months. I feel like I literally gained like 5 to 6 years of wisdom in the space of 6 months, because life just moves very fast. You learn very quickly. I spent 6 months, I think it was 5 months living on an island called Koh Samui, which was honestly amazing. Like, such a good balance of kind of fitness, business, fun. You could have it all, and it was just a really, really good base. And then I went to Bangkok after that because I felt like I'd kind of had that experience of island fever. I was kind of stuck on the same island. I was just like, right, I need to go somewhere a bit bigger. I went to Bangkok, and that was amazing. And then it got to a point where I'd been away for too long, so I was just like, right, I'm gonna go see my family, and now I need to get back, but I'm being lazy. I'm kind of dreading this flight, so we're gonna get that sorted next month. And yeah, honestly, an amazing life setup. Bikes are cool as well. So that's kind of my story about Thailand and kind of how I moved there. Now, why Thailand? So, number one, low cost of living. This is massive. Like, realistically, you can live kind of wherever you want if you're making anywhere between, like 3 to 5K. Like, you could move to Dubai, but realistically, your money is just going to disappear because there's always more ways to spend it. And realistically, I figured Thailand is the best setup because you get to live an amazing lifestyle with a very low cost of living. Therefore, I can still be increasing my wealth, I can still be saving, and I can still be in this kind of positive state of mind, which is what Thailand has to offer. There's year-round sun, there's an amazing vibe and energy, and honestly, I watched how this transformed not only my mindset, but my business, because every single day, I was just loving life, waking up happy. Like, when you're kind of in this situation here at home and it's very cold and it's dark in the morning, and you can't really go for your walk, and you're just kind of working in the same room and things are a little bit slower, it does make you realize that when you go to Thailand, there's a whole different kind of ball game there, because the year-round sun, the energy, the fast-paced lifestyle, it really, really does have an impact on the way you do things. Not to mention the health and gym culture, literally everywhere you go, ice baths, saunas, amazing gyms. really cheap food with all the macros, everything calculated. So it's really, really easy to get in shape. Not to mention you meet a lot of like-minded people. The amount of connections, the amount of people I've met from simply just going to Thailand is crazy. Because at the end of the day, if you see someone on a laptop who speaks English, they're obviously there and they're obviously living there. And the reason they're doing so is because they're doing the same thing as you. They work online. And as a result, you go from this person who's kind of just like a solo entrepreneur, like in your room or, you know, in London or whatever it is, working by yourself and not really understanding like kind of, you know, who else does this. And then you go there and you just have like an abundance of people who are doing the same thing. It was the biggest thing that honestly happened to me. Because when I first started, no one was like, I had one friend who was kind of doing the same thing. And we used to speak all the time about, you know, different ideas. But other than that, you're kind of just on your own. And it's just like, no one really understands you. Like your family, like your friends, no one really understands it because it's like, it's a bit unknown. But when you go to Thailand, you want to go to one of these places and there's an abundance of like-minded people, you start to kind of feel a little bit more secure in what you're doing, obviously. There's not that kind of imposter syndrome almost. And you can almost bounce ideas off each other. It's amazing. But most importantly, you get to live the lifestyle that you want to live and you get to reinvent yourself fully. You can pretty much do whatever you want and you get to live an amazing life. Content is fucking easy. Like you literally, I'm sorry, look at that photo. Like you pop that on the story, you pop that on the Instagram post. Like it's just leveling up your Instagram. Like my Instagram right now is just looking so much better just because I've gone to this place, taken all this content, done some cool shit, and only negativity pretty much disappears. Like it's very, very hard to be pissed off when it's a low cost of living, sunny all the time, there's good vibes. So that's probably in a nutshell why Thailand's sick. There's also bikes are very cheap, which are fucking fun. And yeah, a lot of other things. But Thailand, great place. Now, where to go? Now, I'm not, you know, a Thailand expert. I'm just going to talk about the places I've been to. Bangkok, lock-in season. That's the place for locking in. It's an amazing energy. When I first got there, you just feel like, fucking hell, like this is the place where you lock in. And I think it's just because you're surrounded by like all of these skyscrapers, all of these sick buildings. It's a fast-paced lifestyle. It just kind of translates into, you have to be there to understand it. It's just like an unbelievable energy. Like I had my apartment with this massive view of the city, really, really high up. I was on the 32nd floor. And mate, the energy was, I just wanted to work all day. And it's just like, that's a perfect example of like the setup. Like once you have the right environment and the setup, which Bangkok definitely does for working and trying to focus and grow your business, it's an unbelievable place. It's obviously the crazy parts of Bangkok. If you've watched The Hangover 2 or any other stuff, you know, you can kind of have that balance. But yeah, it's an amazing place. And I think there's a lot of cool things to do. It was a big change when I came from the island where, you know, it's almost like restricted. You're on an island. You can do a lot of things, but like obviously in Bangkok, they've got, you know, hundreds of fucking shopping malls. Anything you want is there at the click of your fingers. Everything's much faster. So amazing energy there. Really, really good for locking in and focus. Now, I would 100% think about splitting my time between Bangkok and Koh Samui. Reason why? It's an unbelievable island and you get a balance of the two. It's a great life. You know, waking up in an amazing villa or an amazing apartment right next to the beach on your bike, it's just a fucking great feeling. Like there's so many good gyms, there's beaches. It's such a chilled vibe, and you can honestly do both. You can work very well. You can stay focused. You can really, really focus on your health and improve and optimize that. Beaches are amazing. The whole place is beautiful, and there's always, you know, places to go if you want to have a little bit of fun. You want to go on the party scene. You just pop down to Shaweng, and there's loads of people who are obviously traveling as well. So you can meet a lot of people from all over the world. I think I, you know, got lost a bit in the sauce a little bit when I first got there. But you want to get that balance. And it's a really, really cool place. Bangkok, like, if you compare it, is probably way too big. Like, it's really, like, eventually, like, you know everyone. It's a small island. And that's quite cool. Like, you can just have your base. You can be, like, the guy on that island. It's like you have... I remember there was a gym we went to called Success Gym. And there was a food place opposite called Seasoned Samui. A guy called Heng, lovely geezer, ran that. And you would just walk in, you'd go to the gym and you'd go for food and you'd go opposite and you just see like 10 of your mates every time. Like, I wouldn't even like message anyone. I'd just pop in and just see, oh, you're right, mate. And then you just have a chat with someone. And then it was just sick. Like, it's just such a kind of small island, but you kind of see everyone and there's so much to do. So I'd highly recommend that. I've been to Krabi, Phuket, Koh Phangan. I didn't live on Koh Phangan. I went there for a weekend, but it looks very, very nice as well. I think the vibe, I'm not completely qualified to give my take on it, as I haven't lived there, but I think the vibe is much, much chiller. Like a very like relaxed, all that shit. So I don't know, maybe not for me. Koh Samui was perfect. And then there's Phuket. That's fucking sick. It's massive. There's so much to do. Like, you've got the old town, you've got amazing beaches. That's pretty massive. Like, there's loads of places, and I do not know too much about it. All I know is there's a high potential for degeneracy if you go to Patong, so don't go there. And this is like a bit of a holiday vibe. I know a lot of people just kind of go there for holidays. It's an amazing place, but I don't know too much about it. It's pretty big. But to be honest, where to go? Bangkok, Koh Samui. Those would be my kind of ideal places to split my time, and then you can obviously explore. Just if you're in Koh Samui, what we did was just you get on a bike and then you fucking go on the ferry and then drive to wherever you want to on the mainland. So you can do a little bit of exploring, which is good fun. Now, how much do you need? Now, this is subjective, but I'm just going to keep it realistic. So I would say 2 to 3k per month in pounds. Like, really, that's what you need. Now, I'm going to say 1k for great accommodation, because that will cover you whether you're living on your own or you're living with more than 2 people. You can get places for 300 to 400, 100%. Like, you can get it much cheaper. This is all like overestimating, very conservative. Like, I think 1k is probably best, because if you have that balance, first off, there's electricity and there's bills when you don't rent through Airbnb. If you do rent through Airbnb, it's always more expensive. And second of all, it's always nice to just invest a little bit more in the place you live, in my opinion, at least. Obviously, if you're in a situation to do so, just because you're living there. And also, it just kind of speaks to like your mindset and like the way you feel. Like, if you're in a sick villa and you're loving life, then realistically, you're going to work better. You're going to make the money back. That's my logic. So I'd invest in a great accommodation, 1,000. And I'd say 300 to 400 for food. Like, realistically, less than 100 quid a week. You can eat out for literally 20 quid a day, like max. So that would be what? 20 times 30, 600, but that's if you're eating out. I would probably do a mixture of the both, and especially like if you're focusing on your physique. One of the mistakes I made was I ate out every single day. I didn't cook a single meal in Thailand, and I look back and I think that's actually retarded, because I was supposed to be cutting and I just did not I just assumed they were using fucking 0 calorie spray and fry light. They obviously weren't. They were using a shit ton of olive oil. So the steak and eggs I was eating was, supposed to be 600 calories, but it was likely 1,000. I was probably never in a deficit unless I was doing, absurd amounts of cardio. So if you wanted to get an amazing shape in Thailand, big lesson, fucking get your scales, go shopping, it's called Macro, great place. And not even Macro, what was it called? Tops Food Hall even. And just get some food and cook it all, meal prep, do all that shit. Then 300 for a bike. That's like one of your better bikes. Like, I think for at least 160 to 300cc, you're looking at around 200 quid a month, and then about 100 quid deposit. Deposit's likely gone, so just call it 300. So that always disappears. 500 quid for the initial flights, obviously depending on where you're from. I'm from the UK, so it's around max 500. If you're from like America, then probably a lot more. I'll go 150 quid a week for general spending. Obviously, that's general. That's for me. You can spend a lot more. I mean, there's always ways to spend money. Trust me on that one. If one night out could easily be 150 quid, but I'm just talking kind of generically. So that's what I'd say there. And 50 quid for a gym membership. Calculate all that shit. That's 1.9k. That's 2k. If you want to live, a very good life, you only need 2k. But that one lesson that I've learned is don't be retarded. There's hidden costs. Call it 3k. And that's if you have 3k and your expenses are 1.9 and you've got 1k that you're saving and you've got for the emergencies, you're living life. So 3k per month, you are laughing. That's kind of how much you need, in my opinion. Now, moving on. Oh, that's a duplicate slide. Interesting. Best advice and what I wish I knew. Now, a few more ideas will come to me as I go. But number one, this is the best thing I did. And if you can take one thing from this video, full send it. do not be a pussy and just fucking leave. Just do it. Just book the flight. Once you book the flight, there's no turning back. Okay? If you got some savings and you've got like a backup, then just fucking go, and don't worry about if you don't, like if you don't have the income coming in and you really want to go, just fucking full send it. Like I said, I had 200 quid in my bank account and I full sent it. I was like, fuck it, why not? Because if you actually enjoy it and if you actually love it, you will find a way to stay out there. No one wants to go home, right? Like you think, in theory, you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to have enough money, so I'm going to have to come home in a week or two or a month or whatever. But like, if you really, there's a good old saying, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. In other words, you'll go home. So what I'd say is, fuck around and find out, full send it. I've seen so many people who I've met do this and no one ends up going home, because eventually you realise, okay, life is sick here, I want to stay, and you find a fucking way. There's always a way. So if you, and it's also a really good piece of business advice, sometimes put your backs against the wall and it fucking works. The only way is forward. So number one, full send it. Second of all, and I just touched on this a minute ago, don't think it's cheap. There's always ways to spend money, especially if you're retired like me. Have that buffer, realise there are hidden costs. If I say it costs 2k per month with those expenses, assume it's 3k. Have that buffer, and then you have peace of mind. I mean, you're not stressing about things that you shouldn't be fucking stressing about. Remember, if you make even more than this, and this is fucking bullshit, so just get yourself to that point. Next, try not to get too lost in the sauce. You know, it's easy to do when people are traveling. You know, what you got to realise is, I remember when I'd be going out, a lot of people were just traveling. You know, they're on their kind of backpacking journey, having some good time. They're on holidays. So it's easy for you to just kind of get lost in the sauce and just say, oh, well, you know, I'm here as well. Let's just have a few drinks or whatever, right? But you got to remember the fucking mission. Like, you're there for a reason. You're there to level up the business, to level up the mindset, to become a better person. So it's like, you can't be spending your time doing that all the time. Maybe sometimes, but not all the time. And that's a lesson people learn the hard way. I learned that the hard way, but it was good fun. Now, next, split villas with friends for a better experience. It's always going to be more expensive if you live by yourself. So if you do have any friends there or you meet some people, 100% split villas, especially if you're on the same mission. Like when I lived with Tommy, Louis and Jamie, we had this one villa, mate. It was just fucking vibe. Like, first of all, wasn't paying much. Second of all, villa was sick. And third of all, like, the energy was just fucking good. Like, there was a time when I was living with mate Tommy. And mate, the energy was unbelievable. We then lived again together with Tommy and Tully. We lived in this one massive villa. And yeah, again, energy, fucking unbelievable. And it was a better experience. I then went to Bangkok and lived on my own. It was cool. I locked in, but realistically, villa, always better. You get a better accommodation, you get a much bigger place, and you've obviously got people to bounce ideas from and have a little bit of fun. Next, always carry cash. This is so true with Koh Samui. Bangkok, you can get away with it, but always carry cash. Most people don't fucking take card in Koh Samui or the islands. So always carry cash. You always need it for a little emergency as well, if you know you need to pay someone off or whatever it is. So always fucking carry cash. I don't even follow my own advice there. I never did, and it was just stupid. So always carry that. And I said if I think of any more, I'll say it. Fair, that's the most part. The biggest advice I would say is, if you are genuinely wanting to go to Thailand, and I'm just kind of speaking to the people here who have just started a business, right? Who have just started a business or work online, or they're in a position where they've just kind of left uni and they don't know what they want to do. I'd 100% recommend going to Thailand. And I've told you the reasons why. Low cost of living, amazing lifestyle. And if you are unsure of what to do or how to make money or how to actually start your business or what you want to do, sometimes, and you've got the savings, sometimes in your interest to follow step one and just full send it. Don't be a pussy. Fuck around and find out. The path lights up as you walk it. And sometimes just getting on that flight and getting out there changes everything. And honestly, that's what happened to me. The best thing I did last year was get on that flight, because it opened up my eyes. I saw what the actual world was like. I met so many different people from all over the world. And I lived this amazing lifestyle, and I know what's out there, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know the potential. It's changed everything. It's changed my business. It's changed who I am. So highly recommend that. And that's kind of the best way I could explain things. I feel like there's a few more things I could add, but they're not coming to mind. So that's going to be today's video. But little update. I'm going back to Thailand in a month. I'm going to stay there for 3 months, not as long, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do some Europe stuff, which will be fun. So content will improve, and very excited. I'm going to keep the daily uploads as well. So for anyone who's been loving these videos. There will be more. Don't you worry. And we'll be back on Monday with more educational content. The content is going to level up even further. So I hope this was useful. Hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions, you know where to find me. Instagram, comments, and that is all. I appreciate your time. All the best, guys. Catch you later.